Hello and welcome to another edition of Beyond the Hype. I'm your host, Senior VP and Executive Editor at Large for Black Enterprise, Alfred Edmond Jr. And once again, we have a great conversation coming up with a really amazing guest. My guest today is a history maker in every sense of the term. Got elected to the mayor of the Village of Dolton with 82% of the vote, which is saying something for any politician to get that big a landslide of a victory. But in her case, she is the first and youngest woman mayor of the Village of Dalton in Illinois in its 130-year history. Please welcome to the show, welcome to Beyond the Hype, Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. Now listen, mayors are busy. I know we had originally scheduled this interview. I know you had a couple of water main breaks and of course the really serious winter storm out in the Midwest, a week ago. So whenever I can get somebody like you on the show, I want you to understand, I understand exactly the demands on your time, and just to give up, an hour of your time is a big deal. So thank you so much for joining us on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
So first of all, right from the top, tell me, you're really young. Did you ever you think when you were a little girl, I'm going to be the mayor of a major municipality? What was the pathway to go, where you're from, how you were raised, that brought you this path, this journey to becoming the mayor?
Well, I come from two loving parents, Joni and Ronald Henyard. They raised me to be the woman I am today. So I initiated Black clubs on my block in Dalton. So they advocated for me to be the spokesperson. I had to go advocate to get a tree cut down. Once I did that and it actually happened, everybody say, "Oh, you're the president now." I'm like, President of what? Of the block. So when I did that, it just got me more involved with politics, because I went to a board meeting. I didn't think they was gonna listen to little old me. I was just a teenager at the time. So that's how I actually got attracted to politics.
Yeah. Did you know at that age that you really liked it? Was it, sometimes we do things when we're young, we're teenagers, our parents encourage us, we're good at it, but it doesn't necessarily make us passionate. When did you know this was like, the life that you might want to pursue?
I would say that happened later on in high school, because I was in debate class and I was also in history. Our history teacher, Mr. Morgan, thank you so much, from Thornridge. He always challenged us to debate. So we had to play attorneys, we had to watch Law and Order and reenact scenes. So from that, I just love the fact of debate, to go back and forth and get your point across and then win your case. I love that. So that kind of got me attracted to going in this direction as it relates to politics. And I love helping people. At the end of the day, I know people say they're politicians, but I'm a leader. I don't say I'm a politician. I'm a leader. I'm basically Tiffany from the block. I'm just a regular old person that just want to help people. All that politics and all that back and forth, yeah, it happens. But if you true leaders, help everybody. No matter who you are, everybody. Yeah.
Well, I'm a big believer in everything you just said, especially for mayors. I always tell people, you can be a congressperson and you got to get some things done, but you don't really have to get anything done. Yeah. Obviously being a president in the White House is a big job, but you don't, if you're the mayor, things have to get done. Politics aside, if the snow isn't moved, if the garbage isn't picked up, I've been living in New York City and right outside New Jersey now, but I've been living in big cities. I spend a lot of time in Chicago, and I always tell people, you can tell whether the mayor is going to be good or not based on what happens the first time there's a snowfall. Does it get moved? Right. People don't care about your politics. They don't care about what party you're in. They want to know, can I get my car out to get to where I got to go?
That's it. Can I go get their medicine? Yes.
Yes. So fast forward to this historic election. Now I understand you were already a trustee of the village before that, if I understand it correctly.
Yes.
What was the process of you deciding to run, and what would you attribute to winning it by such a large margin? As a young mayor.
So I was a trustee for 8 years, and I have been known as the people's trustee. So I always advocated for what's right. I always stood against the current, or well, not current now, but the previous administration. And that got me to where I am now. So I was more popular than the sitting mayor, but I was only a trustee, and trustees only legislate, the same as aldermen, except we just at large, we over the whole entire community. Aldermen have wards. So when I did that, I saw I had a base out of this world. I started doing creative things like gas giveaways. You know, I get talked about by everything. That's only because I come up with innovative ideas. A lot of people do what's common, what everybody does, right? Me, I wanted to do something that was a need. Back then, the healthcare providers needed a way to get to work. They needed gas. They needed essential supplies such as that. And when I did that, it just knocked it out the park. And then from there, I did it as a trustee, believe it or not. When I did it as mayor, they said that I was buying votes. I'm like, how do you buy votes? By giving out gas. It wasn't even election time. So once I became so much, they call me the popular trustee, I decided to run for mayor because the previous mayor termed out. He turned me out, meaning he put something on a referendum saying that you cannot do no more than 2 terms. I had 2 terms, so I was at 8 years. So therefore, I had to run out of his seat. So he got to watch what you do, people. If y'all watching this, watch what you do, because it can backfire, which it did. And I was way more popular than him. So the rest was history, really. The community wanted change. And I represented that as a trustee, and now I'm coined the people's mayor. So it's just been great.
Now, let me ask you this. You know, it takes confidence and it takes self-confidence to be a leader in general, but also to be a young leader leading a city, leading a town.
Yes.
Were there doubts along the way as you decided this is what you were going to do? And how did you manage those if you had them?
Me personally, I didn't have any doubts for myself, but the people that you would think are your friends have doubts because you've been so young, but that don't mean that I'm not wise beyond my years. Like I always stated, all the people around me are way older than me. I might have 1 or 2 people that's the same age as me. So I get a lot of wisdom from all my mentors, whether they believe it or not. You got to do something different in order to change society, to change the world. So when people doubted me, I said, okay, you basically turn that no into a yes. You know how many times I've gotten a no when I try to start my business or just being a young entrepreneur? I had to go show up and show out and tell them, y'all better watch Tiffany Henyard because she is on the move. So I always made people, the non-believers, into believers, and especially my haters. My haters are my biggest fans now, so I love it. Yeah.
I'm all for that. I'm with it. I'm with it. Yeah. Again, one of the reasons I was glad you were able to do this show is because without driving it and hammering it into the ground, you are young, and that's not necessarily about your age, but the willingness to think about new ways of doing things. This is my own personal opinion. I think sometimes we as a country, and certainly we in the Black community, can also get so used to a certain way of leading, and we don't necessarily plan for new blood to come in, and we get it caught up into this has always worked, and this is what we should keep doing. And while I'm a big believer also in recognizing the importance of legacy and tradition, I always tell people legacy is meant to be built on. It's meant to be a floor, not a ceiling. So again, when I got a chance to talk to you and then other leaders like you in other spaces who are young and doing things differently, I tell you the mission is the same, but you can serve the mission in different ways than you may have in the past. Talk to me about your willingness to, even before you were elected, to try new things, to try things that hadn't been done before, and not just do it the way it's always been done.
Okay, so a lot of people don't understand that it is a time and place for change. And right now we're in the 21st century. And a lot of people don't want to utilize the technology that us young baby boomers are utilizing. So we have to create a platform to teach the seniors how to use their phone, how to create Facebook, how to pay things online. So I've been implementing a lot of technology within Dalton, how to use apps. We created an app, by the way. Dalton is creating their very own app, just so everybody can be up to date with everything that I do as mayor. Because half the time people hear about it later. Right now, I currently got a grant that I'm giving away to residents. When I go out to grants or go out to anything or try to change the law, I include the residents. You guys are always first for me. So no one has ever done that before. So that's what I mean by about innovative ways or ideas or technology or just improvement here in Dalton, I try to create a different route of doing things and showing people just truly what love is. I love my community. I love my people. They need that right now. They used to politicians being slick, underhanded, conniving, just all that, and lying. They always lying. They do be lying. They be lying to me too, y'all. But I'm going to hold them to the fire, and I make sure I show up and show out. And I always say, we ready. Remember, you got to remember this. We ready. We ready, you know, because I'm always ready. Got to stay ready. I'll never go get ready. I'm always ready. But yeah, so that's kind of like the approach I take.
You know, that's very refreshing. And I was informed right before the interview that even, let me make sure our audience knows, the Village of Dalton has been around for 130 years. So, and, you know, I was just, you know, told right before the interview that even your offices and your are being redone for the first time in forever. How important is it that you're really trying to send a new message, not during your own leadership, but leave a legacy for people to follow, that, you know, this is about being in the present and being future focused, even if you want to appreciate the traditions of the past?
So sometimes I start by just trying to educate by putting out the messages, whether it's Facebook, text, or email. And I love my chief of staff, Nikita McGrath. She's been helping me tremendously as it relates to just social media. She's a beast when it comes to that. So it's been teaching and educating anybody, I ain't gonna just say my seniors, anybody, of our new steps for Dalton. I can't like stress enough how important technology is. And that phone, when I say everyone has an iPhone or yeah, I got an iPhone, but every phone there is, Android, but people just need to learn how to use it. So I don't know. I'm praying I answered the question.
No, you did. I mean, we again, one of the challenges of leadership in general and political leadership in particular is that technology is moving so fast, and often legislation is not keeping up with it. Policy making is not keeping up with it. We saw it during the pandemic when all of a sudden it was important to understand how to use Zoom and understand how to use phones, understand how to use apps, because you couldn't educate your children without doing that. You might not be able to earn a living if you had to work remotely. And we found out quick, fast, and in a hurry that not only having technological capabilities in your household was important, our leaders understanding those needs was very, very important. Talk to me about some of your initiatives. And I'm going to bring up a couple that are really fascinating to me. Tell me about the Block by Block program.
So Block by Block is really dear to me. As a trustee, I initiated that by getting an ordinance passed here in the Village of Dolton that states that we will give all our vacant property back to the residents first. So if you live in town, you was able to purchase a house for $1, or if you're an investor, it would have been $5,000. Well, no, I got it backwards. It's $5,000 for a home ownership and $1 for investors. And the reason why I structured the opposite way, because a lot of people say, well, why we can't get it for $1? Is because that particular property has the most work, such as a furnace, a hot water tank, a roof. They have a house of raccoons living in it, things of that nature, where I know my residents, because they're saving their income tax money, couldn't afford to do the whole build out for their property. So I created that so that people can live on the same block as their parents or their loved ones. The 5,000 ones was for residents. So that means it's cosmetic. So paint, flooring, things that I know you can afford as a resident. So I structured that program, and of course, the haters, people, they shot it down when they lost their seats, the exiting trustees. And then I bought it back up again as mayor. And right now, to this day, the Board of Trustees have shut it down once again. But I have another way of doing things. I'm so happy that there's more than one way to skin a cat, because it's still going to happen. And I want residents to get their money ready and know that we will be having properties available for you soon, real soon. So save that income tax money, girl. Don't buy no weaves, don't go buy no new cars, none of that. Save it and invest in self or your child for a house for only $5,000 in the Village of Dolton.
That's really resonates with a Black enterprise in our audience, because as you may know, home ownership is a foundation of wealth. African Americans lag behind every other group, and we lost ground during the pandemic in terms of rates of home ownership. We haven't been more than 50% Black home ownership ever. And I think we're down in the 45, 47 range now. and versus say 75% range among white homeowners, and then other groups are in between those two ranges. But home ownership is a foundation of wealth creation. It's usually the biggest single asset that most Americans have. So again, when I read what you were trying to do and the initiatives you were pushing, is that kind of a policy. And in Black Enterprise, we talk about what it's going to take to close the racial wealth gap in America, which is about net worth, not just income. Assets on the books, like the equity in a home, is a big one. So it strikes me as a really not only forward thinking, but the fact that you're taking action to try to make that happen is another sign of what it means to be a mayor that's trying to get something done, as opposed to just getting elected. And you got to politic, you got to speak, you got to do all of that. But when it boils down to it, is what are you going to get done for the residents?
Correct. And then I want it to be home ownership. I'm so tired of just everything being renters. I want you to reinvest back in where you lay your head. You're going to take care of that house. You're going to treat it like it's your own when it is your own. So I just want people to know, come and get the properties, meaning residents. They're here for you. You're first. Now, if the residents cannot afford it, then yes, it'll go to the investors. Because of course, people got more money than a lot of people, right? So I don't want big bank to take little bank. I want little bank to prevail. I want them to win. I want you to get first dibs at it. And I want you to have your kids live in town, just like my parents. I grew up in Dalton. My family lives here. And guess what I did? I live here. I bought a house and I live in Dalton as well. So normally that's like the going trend. And I want to keep that here. I just care about home ownership and bringing it back to that suburb that it once was. When I came to town, it was Ponderosa, it was Red Lobster. It was everything on Silly. Right now, it's like a ghost town. My job is to bring infrastructure change, also bring businesses to the business district. I care about those things. My background is restaurant. I have a restaurant for over 20 years called Good Burger. Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order? I love my restaurant. So I want that same concept here in the Village of Dolton. I want sit-down restaurants, because I don't understand why we have to leave out of our town to go to another town, take our sales tax dollars to that town, and I could just put it back in my own backyard. So when you know better, you do better. When you want to create something or you want something, you create it. That's what entrepreneurs do. We create things. We make a pathway. So that's my goal for Dalton.
You make a really good point. Again, that's made for, why homeownership is important. Yes, it's important for the family that owns the home. But when you talk about the health, the economic health of the community, the quality of life in the community, it's been proven over and over and over again. A community that's predominantly homeowners, they're going to maintain that community. Yes. The security in that community is going to be stronger. Yes. There's a more sense of neighborliness about that community. Yes. There's a sense of, no, this has value, and we need to make our community a good place to live, to maintain the values of our homes. There's a whole ripple effect. And of course, it attracts businesses, high quality businesses and diverse businesses. And obviously that's just a big part of what makes a healthy, vibrant community.
Yes. And what I love too, growing up, everyone knew everybody on the block. And when you got off the bus and your parents went home, which was majority of the time, right? You can go to your neighbor's home and you grew up in the same household as them and you did the homework there. You see what I'm saying? We don't have that no more. And everybody was the neighborhood, I ain't gonna say snitch, a neighborhood watch person.
Right.
So that's what we're missing today. Nobody wants to tell. You see something, say something. Don't see something and don't say nothing, because when it happened to you, you're going to want somebody to say something. So I just want to bring all of that back. And I think community would be so happy just to see the love of just family, because that's all it is. A village ain't nothing but a small family. Everybody know everybody, and everybody know everybody's business. So if you're at somebody's house, you don't supposed to be there, you better move around. So things like that. And then can I just make an announcement, since we're talking about it? I got grant money for all my residents here in the Village of Dolton. I am giving you guys $1,500. Like I said, when I go out the money, I write that I want to give it back to the residents. I don't just want to spend it on things for the village. Yes, we get money for that too, but I want to make sure you got a piece of the pie this time. So I got $1.5 million. I'm advocating $500,000 to the residents. I'm also fixing y'all roofs and y'all windows. So y'all better stay tuned and pay attention. And if you're watching this and somebody you know stay in town, call us and get the application, or come in and get the application. And for the business district, because I am you. But this is strictly for the small businesses only. I also got $500,000 for you guys, and you will get $5,000 a piece from me. So please apply and get this money, because a lot of people don't know nothing about it, but come and get it. It's here.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Shifting gears a bit, the other thing that I saw that was fascinating to me, which is also a big part of, I'm sorry, we talk a lot about home ownership at Black Enterprise. In fact, we're about to do our wealth building and real estate summit as a virtual event, second year in a row that we're doing a couple of days after this show airs. But the other thing we're doing is a criminal justice town hall that we'll be doing in a week or so. And I bring that up because I read about your Second Chance initiative, and it seemed really innovative to me. Tell me more about the genesis of that and what you hope to do.
So as I knock on doors, right, when you're running, most people concern is, what are you going to do for those that have backgrounds, have issues, that live in our household? Because this is what I don't like about people in general. People talk a good talk about, yeah, people deserve a second chance. Yeah, I'm a Christian, but they're really not. When I say a lot of people turn their back on people that have maybe made a mistake in their life, and many of us have, but some of y'all just ain't got caught yet, but it's okay. But those that got caught, made a mistake, it's okay. And the reason why I say it's okay, because the judge lets you out. So guess what? You got to come back to our community and stay. So it's my job as a leader, not a politician, as a leader, to create a platform for you to stay a good citizen in Dalton and not revert back to your old ways. Because half of the crimes that happen is because people don't have no outlet. So they go back to what they used to. My job is to create opportunity for housing, opportunity for transportation, and other things that we're doing, job placement. So we have done a lot of things with second chances, because guess what? It's your mama, it's your auntie, it's your cousin, it's your grandma. It's your family members that live with you that did something bad, and now they fix their lives. And I just want to give them an opportunity to come and live in Dalton and create a better way. And you can work for me. I am so background friendly. I kid you not. Come and apply. We hiring now. So don't say I didn't tell you. We are hiring right now. So if you have a background, we are background friendly, and I will help you with anything you need. As long as I got the resources, is yours. So you got to always give back.
You know, you're really on the cutting edge of what was being talked about nationally around. You're not really going to ever get a grip on public safety and crime reduction if there's no way for people to find a way to re-enter into productive society. So you talked about, you know, being background friendly, and for those in our audience who are not familiar, there's a major barrier in many cities, states, and counties across the country, and employers who, if you put on your employment application that you served time and you've been formerly incarcerated, you're automatically eliminated. If you don't say anything and you get the job and it's found out later, you get fired. And so you can't win, even if you are really legitimately looking for a legitimate pathway back into productive society with skills and education, et cetera. And so when I read about the program, I wanted to talk about it because you're doing it for the Village of Dolton, but this is part of the national discussion about what do you do to reduce crime, create healthier relationships between the Black community and the police, particularly post George Floyd, yet still have public safety, still have communities where you don't feel like, you know, Junior that robbed you 2 years ago is back out. Right. And he doesn't have the options. And so he might be back at it, you know. Now, again, this doesn't, in some ways, I tell people this is not necessarily rocket science, but it took us getting to this point as a nation, and I'll say for you as a leader of the Village of Dolton, to understand that, again, what we used to do, which was like build bigger prisons, and we found out that's not even economically sustainable, much less effective. And of course, you're working with a budget. You can't just constantly spend all your money on that. But again, it makes sense to you, but I'm sure you have to do convincing to people that was like, no, that's not the way we used to do it. You know, why are we coddling these people? Why, you know, the language, you're not tough enough on crime. Talk to me about one, why, you already said it, you came to get it done and you got to turn some no's into yeses. But I want people to understand the real day-to-day work of being a leader and a mayor, because everybody is not just going to roll with your program just because you're the mayor. You have to do some persuading. Talk to me about what that's like for you, particularly as a young woman, because some of the people you got to persuade are not Black, they're not young, and they're not women.
Yes.
You know, and that always can be a difficult combination for people who don't know how to respect young Black and female. Yes. Talk to me about that.
A lot of that.
You can tell them I'm a father of 4 daughters, by the way, so I understand.
Oh, wow. Oh, bless their heart. I hope y'all watching this. So I try to educate people and tell them that, okay, y'all was young once. People gonna make the mistakes. It shouldn't be study hindering them while they try to improve their life as a young adult. Most of the time, people do the time for the crime. They already did their thing as it relates to pay their dues. So why can't they re-enter our society and come? They already live amongst us. Why can't they work amongst us? Just like with politicians, politicians, because I'm a leader. That y'all like use these same, whether you want to call them criminals or call them somebody that got just some issues. Y'all use the same people that made a mistake to get elected, to get re-elected. Y'all use them the door knock, put flyers out, etc. But yet they can't come and have a seat at your table. Why? Why? They should be able to do the same thing, because some of them brothers and sisters, because I found some sisters too, oh my God. Yeah, brothers and sisters are really educated, really smart, and can do the job that we offer. But yet a lot of people don't want them in your backyard because of what they have done. To me, when I try to clean anything up, it's all about what you have done within your dash. That's it. We only hear from A to Z. So whatever you've done between that little time frame is what matters. And God looks at that, and that's how I look at it. So you can't turn your back on your brother or sister just because they made a mistake. That's called living. You haven't learned nothing until you actually tried it. Whether you fail or succeeded, you have tried. That's all that matters. That's what I tell anybody want to be an entrepreneur. Hey, that's the idea off the shelf. Pull it down, try. If you tried, then guess what? It didn't work. Okay, try something else or try another way. But keep pushing. Don't never give up. I just don't like when people give up on themselves. You got to have some self-strength, guys, and y'all got to keep pushing, because I believe in you. Me, Mayor Tiffany Henyard, believes in you. If you're watching this, go get that idea off that shelf right now and try to bring it to fruition. If I got the resource to help you, I will. But as it relates to anybody that did anything in their life, a mistake, and you just shameful of it, I am here to help you. I am not here to criticize you or tell you can't be, because you can't be whatever you want to be. Remember, I know I can't be what I want to be. Remember, if I work out of it, I'll be where I want to. Yeah, okay. So that kind of movement. So that's what I'm looking for. Just that. I just care about encouraging people, because I hang around people that do nothing but uplift me. If it's something or idea I have, whether it's because I don't believe in anything being a dumb idea, right? So if it's just something that need a little tweaking, all my mentors say, well, yeah, Tiffany, try it this way. It won't work because you was doing it this way. And that's what you need around you. Fire everybody y'all hang with if they talking like me. I'm telling you right now, they don't mean you no good. No good.
You know, you said a couple of points. I'm loving this conversation.
Thanks.
You have mentors. I'm big on having mentors, and I'm big on mentoring other people. But a lot of times people look at somebody like you in leadership and they don't think about that. Talk to me about one, that you have mentors and how important that is to you. And then in a separate topic, talk about how you deal with people who are not used to a woman in charge, and not used to a young person in charge, not used to a Black person in charge, but you're still able to get them to cooperate and to persuade them to be at least open to your ideas.
So as it relates to my mentors, I've had them all my life. I started out really young, and I could just hit on a couple points of me start trying to be a restaurant owner. When I first started, I went to a lot of people that looked like me. A lot of people told me no and wouldn't help. And it's a shame, because I had to go to an individual, a Caucasian, one of my friends, and he actually showed me the ropes on how to do the restaurant business. And then from there, open other doors, and other restaurant business owner helped me get to where I'm at today. So you just got to keep trying. That's why I say never give up. I don't care how many no's you heard. You keep going till you get that yes. Somebody gonna believe in you. You just probably talking to the wrong people that don't have the same vision as you. Sometimes people are on the level that they're at, and you might be on a higher level than them, and they'll bring you down to that level. No, never change what your passion is or what you're trying to accomplish. You're just talking to the wrong people. Find people that's just like you. Find people that move just like you. Now they're at the same pace and give you the knowledge that you need to basically bring anything into fruition. As it relates to, what was the other question?
We're talking about being able to persuade people who may not be used to a woman in charge, a young person in charge, or a Black person in charge, but get them to respect what you're doing, respect who you are, and ultimately getting them on board with your programs.
Okay, so right now I do a ton of door knocking, and I try to just put out informational pamphlets to let people know what my next steps are. Matter of fact, I'm having a town hall meeting tomorrow. It will be streamed live. You can ask me questions, talk to me, get the real one-on-one with Tiff. I talk just like this. I don't try to sugarcoat it. I'm not a polished politician by any means, but that's how I won by 82%, because people just like real. People don't like when you just so polished and it feel like somebody coerced you to say all the things you're saying. So it's just keeping it real. But when I try to get my point across, I either do a sit down like this or a one-on-one with residents to explain to them why our village has become a second chance village and why it's important to help a little day that's in your house right now, while you telling me no at your door, but you really ask me for these services. So normally I just do it that way, and half the time it works out because I do have a lot of people point the finger here, but I know their history, I know their backgrounds, and I just tell them, how can you tell me you're a Christian, but yet you turning against people that just made a mistake? They made a mistake, guys. And I'm not saying it's okay to make mistakes, but it is okay to make mistakes that you can't fix, is what I'm saying. Not the bad mistakes where people don't come back no more. No about all that. But it's okay to make mistakes because you're human. You're gonna make mistakes. And I can't stress this enough. That is what living and life is about. Trial and error. That's all it is. But as long as you're willing to fix that mistake and come back from it, because it's all what matters is how you bounce back. That's it. The mistake is just a mistake. Put it on the shelf, and I know I said dust the idea off, but now put the mistake on the shelf. Leave that there. And now come on and let's just move forward. So yeah.
So as the time that we got left is going by fast because I'm having some good time with you. But talk to me now about what you hope to accomplish. I'm giving you this kind of in two parts. What you hope to accomplish during the rest of your time as mayor. What are some goals and initiatives and things you would like to be able to look back one day when you're no longer the mayor and say, man, that's my legacy. That's what I was able to do. What is it what is your forward-looking vision for your time as mayor and for the village of Dalton?
Okay. First, I'll start with my snow removal program that I just initiated. So me and you had a meeting last week on, oh my God, there's a ton of snow out there. And everybody called. We registered literally 300 residents. Those numbers tripled come literally the second day, Nikita, and it was so tough because the resources got exhausted, and we had to outsource things and call other people in just to help. But my seniors is everything to me, because guess what? You and I are gonna be seniors real soon. So I want people to help us. So you must do what you want to see, right? So we got them out of their driveways. A lot of people was calling about getting their medicine or just going to the doctor, because once the snow didn't come day 2, I was so thankful. Thank you, God, for that. It didn't come day 2. We was on cleanup. So basically we just had to go through community cleanup. We still had our main streets. We do alleys, we did sidewalks, everything. So that's one initiative that I've done that never has been done ever in Dalton. And guess what? It's free. I do not charge my people for anything. It is free to my residents. I love them. My seniors especially, free. And next year, I don't know. Well, I'm gonna say this year come December. It might be a little different because it was 600 people. So we'll work that out. The next initiative would have to be my healthcare initiative. And I'm all about get fit. I have a $1,000 weight challenge for all people in Dalton, anybody. It don't have to be just senior. Anybody can join. And whoever loses the most weight, I'm going to present you with $1,000. We might split it up into 2 categories, meaning male and female. And we're going to weigh in on February 20th. and that'll be at Thornridge High School. And then also that same particular day, I have a senior health and wellness check, because I always want to check on my seniors. A lot of people don't go to the doctor. A lot of people don't check prostates. And I'm telling y'all, y'all need to check your health. I know we just got through that pandemic and it's been tough, but right now I have it for diabetes, stroke screenings, mental health. I have a mental health facility in town. Oh my God. And a lot of people utilize that. If you don't have one in your town and you're watching this, get one. It will help the people tremendously, because a lot of people are going through things because of COVID. So these are some of the accomplishments that I do have, or that I'm working on, that's upcoming. This event I'm speaking of will be February 20th. I also have the actual local dentist guy. He'll be there, and eye care. So I have all these initiatives, all free, and they're going to check you out. And sometimes you'll find out that you need some help when you go actually do a check. And it's from 12 to 4 at Thornridge High School. My big legacy that I really loved when I first got in office was Stop the Violence March. I was the youngest mayor ever. No one thought that I would bring the crowd that I did. And when I say thousands of people came out, they showed up in droves. And when I say all of my counterparts, such as Kim Fox, Lori Lightfoot, everybody showed up. And I was just so amazed just to see the overwhelming support that I had being a new mayor, and everybody was shocked. They was like, how she pull that off? She just got in office. But I am so respected and loved and cherished by them that I just appreciate that they did show up and show out. We did a whole press conference there. We walked, and I coined this one bridge, the Unity Bridge, because you got to have unity somewhere. And that was on Sibley, and it was just great. We all joined hands, sing some songs. Then the rain came, but I thank the Lord again because he held it off. Everyone said it was going to pour down rain in that day. It didn't rain until we actually completed our march, because it was all about the unity. And God wanted to see that, so he made that happen. So I'm thankful for that. But I want to say that would be my big accomplishment, bringing people together. So that's why I created the Unity Bridge. And right now, to this day, I speak to everyone, and we're working on different ways to combat crime, and just to have intergovernmental agreements with one another. Yeah.
You know, you hit on certain things that are important to me personally. Those who know me well, those who've been following my journey, whether for Black Enterprise or on my social media, knows I lived with prostate cancer for a year. And the key to me being just fine today is they caught it early. Like, I was very serious about getting screenings. I didn't know at the time, but I've found out since then that my father had prostate cancer, that my grandfather had prostate. Like, I didn't know there was a family history, but because I got it into my spirit when I was younger, just get screened, just get screened, just get screened. They caught it so early. So when you're talking about getting, residents to, maybe they're not always going to go to the doctor, bringing those services to them, meeting them where they are to get checked out. I'm a living testimony. You will save lives that way. I'm also a big, passionate person about mental health and mental wellness. We spend a lot of time on that, on both on this show and in Black Enterprise in general with our events. We do an event called Black Men Excel. Our biggest session at Black Men Excel is the mental health session, because brothers are ready, people are ready now. So I'm very, very passionate about that. And the other thing that strikes me, and I wasn't going to bring it up necessarily, but it's clear that's a big part of your approach to leadership, is you are a woman of faith. I happen to be a man of faith. Anybody who follows me on social knows I love the Lord, and it's a big part of who I am. But often we don't necessarily equate that with effective leadership, purpose-driven leadership, people-driven leadership. Talk to me about, you're doing it because that's who you are, and it seems like you're going to be who you are no matter what you're doing.
Always all you get.
But talk to me about how that helps you to be effective at the job that you do.
Well, I will say this, a lot of people don't know that I do pray every day before I leave the house, because I do want to come back in one piece. And I always ask him to cover me, especially with all the enemies and negativity, things that happen by you just having a title. It's a title. I tell everyone we on borrowed seat, borrowed time. It's a matter of what you do with it is what matters. So all that hateful stuff that you guys be doing, stop it, chill out. I'm talking to you, chill out. It's time out for that. So right now, I just handle it by trying to make sure that prayers throughout. You got to go watch one of my videos on Facebook. I think it is, Nikita, right? For my public works. I went and did a whole song. I sung to my entire department just to uplift them on Monday. I call it Inspirational Mondays. And I go and I sing, I hear Kurt Franklin, Happy, the song Happy playing. And I got everybody involved with everybody hugging. They're going to kiss each other, hugging. And just like, I love you, brother. Like, that's what's missing. Like I said, a lot of people don't want that to be. A lot of politicians want you to be afraid of losing your job or afraid of them and don't talk to this person. I don't care about none of that. All I care about you doing is just doing your job, and I'm gonna just show you the love that I think most communities are missing today. So,
well, as we wrap up with this, last couple of questions, Tiffany, I want you to think about your long-term goals for Tiffany. I mean, one day you will not be the mayor of Dalton. I mean, what you're doing is important, but you're really young. I'm gonna say that. Now you gotta understand, I'm 61, about to go turn into 62. So you are younger. You are younger than at least two of my children. Okay. Maybe I'm exaggerating. One of my kids, but they're all in their late 20s, early 30s. And so I always tell them, whatever you're doing in the first half of your life really is setting you up for the rest of your life, that God has something for you to do. And if you're still here, whatever happens to you, good or bad, is preparing you for whatever that is. And only you and God know what that is. But in your mind, where do you see as, I don't want to say ambitions, but what would you like to see yourself doing beyond being the mayor of Dalton, as you move forward with your own life beyond public service?
Beyond public service, I would say entrepreneur. I really care about that the most, because that's how I started. I believe in creating anything that you want. Don't get me wrong, I'm not against people working a 9-to-5. That's just not for me. I want to be the person to tell you what to do and come to work when I want to, that kind of thing. So everybody got their own wants to it. And I love to just see, like, you plant a seed and just watch it grow. I'm just so into that. So I want to grow my business, and I want to see a good burger in every state. I want to partner with Nickelodeon. I want to just grow my brand, in all honesty, after politics. Politics is just a passion of mine. Of course, I tell my board this, nothing's promised, nothing's guaranteed, and nothing's forever. So while I'm here in this seat, I will do right by it, and I'll always guide my people and give them what they've been missing. So I just live by that. But my ultimate goal is just to really still create opportunities for people and build myself as well, my brand.
Now, after I made all this big deal about how young you are and you got mentors and you're at the first half, the other truth is there's an awful lot of people, and I'm going to say specifically young people, young Black girls in particular, who will see this, or their parents will show them you, and they're going to be inspired by you. What kind of advice would you give to maybe Tiffany when she was 12 or 13 or 15 or 16? Think that there are young people, not even just the kids, they're young adults, 20s, early 20s, thinking, just trying to figure out what their way forward, and maybe they don't feel as encouraged. Maybe they are just coming through this pandemic. One of my mentees, it took her 3 years after graduating from college to get a job because she really couldn't effectively job hunt, despite earning her degree. And she was, having a rough time for a little while because she was still kind of stuck. My point is that you are in a position of visibility, responsibility, and accountability. And as much as you might look at people and as a younger leader and be mentored and inspired by them, you also are in a position to mentor and inspire people coming behind you. What would you tell? What is your best advice, to younger people who might look at you and say, man, if she can do it, there's hope for me? Yeah.
My main advice would be never give up on self. Always push yourself to the limit. Always keep pushing, and always surround yourself around people that are just like you. that is so crucial. A lot of people hang with people that's not like them, that's not going where they're going. So eventually you'll learn it, but I just hope it's not too late when you learn those lessons. So I had to learn that at an early age. Most people learn it when they get older, but by then, things that could have been and should have been is not, because you went left instead of right. And God was telling you, get away from this person, or don't do this and don't do that, but you weren't listening because you thought you needed that person in your life. It's hard to cut people off. Like I said, change is hard. Sometimes I had an issue with my community because a lot of people don't like change. They're afraid of it because it's different. And it's okay to be different. God made us all different. So what's wrong with changing things to be different? So I always try to tell them, just look at it like that. If you look at it like that and you just look at where you're going, I think you'll make them decisions early on. Like how you said, early detection, same thing. My mom, she had breast cancer. She did early detection. And that was just by doing I'm doing on your site, doing a little breast thing in the shower, and she found the lump. So when she found the lump, went to the doctor, she did a biopsy, she did everything, and it was cancerous. And she went through all the stages of hair falling out. I even, to this day, I wear a wig. Yeah, this is a wig. It's cute, y'all. Yeah, it's cute. A wig. To this day, just don't pull it. Hold on, Nikita. To this day, just to support my mom, because I love her to death. She didn't want me to cut my hair, and I tried to cut my hair with her. And I ain't for the crap, so I'm gonna get off of that. It was just touch and go. So just believe in yourself. Yeah.
And how again, no matter how successful you are, and I always tell this people, and we look at people in leadership, we look at celebrities, we certainly look on social media, and we think, oh man, they don't have a problem in the world. They never have a dark day, never a hard time. And I always said, there's no such thing as being a human being walking the face of the earth and not having a dark day. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
How do you, when you have so many people depending on you, you have such responsibility, you're so passionate about the lives of people, you're carrying a lot. How do you do self-care? How do you take care of Tiffany when you have a day when you may not, when you're the mayor, you can't just say, I don't feel like talking to anybody. Yeah. You're like, no. Yeah. But what do you do to get through when you have your tough periods, when you don't necessarily feel like it, when you're not necessarily in the mood? You got problems just like everybody else walking this earth. But what is your strategy? How do you, your energy is contagious, you're so upbeat, you're so positive. But how do you do that when you have those times when you don't feel great?
You don't feel great. So a lot of people don't know I am a single parent of a lovely 2-year-old named Justice. And she
Justice.
I know man, if she was down here, she'd be all in my lap. But she upstairs. But she brings me so much joy. Like, what people don't understand is once I clock out, which you never do as mayor, but I think I do when I leave from here at 6, 7 o'clock at night, I become a mom. My baby's out of daycare, so I'm playing with her. I post little videos of her singing. She mocks everything I do. So I have to do right by the people, because my daughter will read and see this one day. And I want her to know that her mom was an awesome, kick-ass person, and she's gonna show up and show out for the people as well as her 2-year-old daughter. So she's my light. She's my heart, my daughter. Yeah.
I could do a whole nother hour, but we won't.
Yeah,
again, you're a mother. That's your bigger job than being a mayor, and it's going to last longer than being a mayor. And so you're balancing a bunch of different things, but your passion for your mission of public service is really shining through. And it was really important for me to take this opportunity to show our audience again, to get beyond the hype. Yes, youngest mayor, Black female mayor, but what is it really like to be you? If there's one thing that if the people who are enjoying this conversation with us, let's say they heard this whole hour, but there's one thing you want them to remember from our conversation that you would want them to take with them on their journey. This is whether, of course, most of us aren't going to ever be a mayor, but we're all going somewhere to get something accomplished. We all have dreams, we all have aspirations. And I believe as a man of faith that we all have a God-given purpose, even if we haven't figured it out yet. What advice, what words of encouragement would you leave with everybody about just what they should take from your journey, maybe the biggest lessons of your journey so far.
So the best thing I can say to that would be, everyone reads books. Well, I hope you guys do, but if you don't, read a book, right? Open the book up. Do not judge a book by its cover. If you're on chapter 1, you need to get to chapter 8. And that way you can understand and see my journey instead of hearing about it. Read it for yourself, get to know people for yourself, because some people, which definitely the hateful ones, they will tell you all the bad things about an individual, but won't tell you all the good things that was done. I'll give you a prime example. I have residents that may not like me or feel that I'm too young to do this job, but guess what? I'm the mayor of all of Dalton, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the hateful. I had to be humble still and go and remove a resident from her garage that is my biggest hater ever, right? And I showed up with tractor trucks, push brooms, everything, shovels, and I got her out of that alley. So my point of this message is, no matter what they do to you, you stay humble. You remember that. God's going to remember that. Stay humble. Sometimes you got to bite your tongue, even though you don't want to do it. Or if you don't want to show up and do it, send somebody else, but just still send that blessing along the way, because you'll get blessed later on in life. So that would be my ending result as being mayor. Stay humble, stay blessed, and keep pushing. Turn the haters into fans. I've done that. Turn them into fans. And they'll be watching this talking to mess, but they're your fans. Trust me, they really are.
It seems like you're, with all the responsibility, with all the work, with all the demands of your time, it seems like you're actually enjoying what you're doing. Is that the case?
It is. It really is. Despite whatever people say or dysfunctional boards and things of that nature, I'm still happy about everything because everything's still moving. One thing people got to understand and realize, when you take on the opportunity of being a mayor, you must continue to lead no matter what people are saying or people think they block, because it's more than one way to skin a cat. Remember that. You can always find another way to basically push your vision, always. Because the bills got to get paid and residents expect the service out of you. You must deliver.
And to close things out, I know Dalton because I spent a lot of time in that part of the country. I don't want to say I know it well, but I know it. But of course, the Black Enterprise audience is a national and some degree international audience. As the mayor of the Village of Dolton, what are some things that our audience should know about Dalton and that makes Dalton special?
Dalton is so special because we are 8 miles east, west, south, and north of every town in the water. A lot of people don't understand that we connect to the Calumet City River here in town. We have a ton of land and development opportunities for those that want it. We have over 90 acres that is ready for development. So if you're watching this and you're a developer and you want to come to towns, please reach out so you can see all of this. I will be showing demonstrations in my town hall meeting of what we have available and things that I want to see come to Dalton. Yeah, I'm gonna put it on the screen, whether it happened right away. I pray to do, but I'm trying to get an Amazon Prime here because we're a fulfillment center, because everybody else have the big Amazons and they won't come as close to me, and Markham is like right up the street. So I just want people to know that Dalton is long overdue for a facelift, and you will see me create different opportunities in the business district in our downtown area, which we're redeveloping currently. And you also see different corridors being remodeled because of the lack of just love put in the mall. I'll say love because it needs it. So I'm looking for a Top Golf now to come to town. I'm looking for a grocery store to come to town. I heard all you guys' cry as relates to food for less, no food on the shelf, things of that nature. So we're talking to Whole Foods and Mariano's, and we're talking to a lot of other big top box offices. I don't want to give it all away because you know the haters will hate and try to block. So until we can get people signing on the dotted line, because remember, if it ain't on paper, make no sense. So that's another thing too. I'm gonna just make sure people know, when you guys are making wills and things of that nature, put it on paper. You can't tell me you left me the TV, grandma, and them shoes over there, and then when you pass, now little Tay fighting me. I'm not gonna do that. Put it on paper, guys. And I want you to know that I know I strayed a little bit, but you write it down, and then it becomes the Bible per se. Judge will have to basically go with what you wrote. But if you do not do that, you can't just tell people they have it. Because I deal with a lot of that too. A lot of residents reach out for help, and I give them legal help. But at the same time, if it's not on paper, I can't help. So nothing I can do. Yeah.
And so you did a great job of laying out the opportunities in Dalton, particularly for major industry. What is your message for small business entrepreneurs who might want to look at Dalton as a place to be?
Please come. I have a TIF district that has $10.5 million in it. We are willing to help you build whatever you like here in Dalton. But again, a lot of people just don't know about it. And that's something else I've learned being in government. If you don't go and research it, and they always say this to Black people, which I couldn't stand growing up, put it in the book and we won't find it. And it's crazy because I'm starting to find that to be true. That's what I'm saying, guys, read. If you don't read or pay attention to what's going on in your own backyard, it will be too late. And then you be mad about why Ms. Jones got a grant and you didn't. And I'm telling you out my mouth what we're doing. So if you don't come and read and fill out the application, you won't get it. So I just want people to know, read. Reading is knowledge. I swear it is.
Listen, Mayor Henyard, I want to thank you so much. You've shared just tremendously with our audience. We're going to be paying attention to what you're doing. I just want to thank you so much for spending time as my guest on Beyond the Hype.
Yes, and thank you so much for having me. This was fun. We should do it again.
Hey, we might, because I'm going to be probably circling back after you get some things off the ground. We may have another conversation. So I generally look forward to it. And the next time I'm anywhere near, I might come through. I'll be saying, can I get an appointment with the mayor? Can I see you just for a second?
Yep, and I'm going to take you to Good Burger. I got you.
That, I'm with it. Well, that's it for this episode of Beyond the Hype. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr., Senior Vice President, Executive Editor-at-Large at Black Enterprise. Thanks so much for joining us. See you next time.